History books are filled with names like Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, and Queen Elizabeth I. We know their stories, their triumphs, and their downfalls. But what about the rulers who were just as powerful, just as cunning, but somehow slipped through the cracks of time? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the monarchs that history class forgot. Let's start in Africa with a queen whose story is the stuff of legend. Her name was Amon-Ra, the one-eyed queen of the kingdom of Kush, in what is now modern-day Sudan. In the 1st century BC, while the Roman Empire was expanding its grip across the world, they set their sights on Kush. The Romans, led by the governor of Egypt, expected an easy victory. They had no idea who they were up against. Amon-Ra didn't just defend her kingdom, she went on the offensive. She personally led her army into Roman-occupied Egypt, sacking major cities, and even bringing back a bronze head of Emperor Augustus as a trophy. She reportedly buried it under the steps of a temple dedicated to her own victory, so her people could forever walk over the head of the Roman emperor. The Romans retaliated, of course, but Amon-Ra and her Kushite warriors fought them to a standstill for years. She lost an eye in battle, but never her spirit. In the end, the mighty Roman Empire was forced to negotiate a peace treaty with her, a treaty that was incredibly favorable to Kush and established a lasting peace. Amon-Ra wasn't just a warrior queen. She was a brilliant diplomat who stood up to the world's greatest superpower and won. Now, let's travel across the globe to ancient India to meet a king who ruled over one of the largest empires of his time, yet is often overshadowed by his more famous grandson. I'm talking about Chandragupta Maurya. In the 4th century BC, India was a patchwork of small, warring kingdoms. Chandragupta, a man of humble origins, changed all that. Guided by his brilliant advisor Chanakya, he began a campaign of conquest. He didn't just unite northern India, he created the Mauryan Empire, the first empire to unify most of the Indian subcontinent. His administration was revolutionary, with a complex system of governance, a powerful army, and a vast network of spies. He even faced off against Seleucus Nicator, one of Alexander the Great's top generals who tried to reclaim Alexander's Indian territories. Chandragupta didn't just defeat him, he pushed his own empire's borders into what is now Afghanistan. This was an empire that rivaled the size and power of Persia or Rome, yet his name is often a footnote compared to his grandson, Ashoka the Great. Later in life, in a move that sounds like something out of a movie, Chandragupta gave up his throne, his power, and all his wealth to become a giant monk, eventually fasting to death as was the tradition. From emperor to ascetic, a truly incredible life. Next, we sail to the windswept islands of Japan to uncover the story of a mysterious and powerful ruler, Queen Himiko. In the 3rd century AD, during a period of intense civil war, Himiko emerged as the ruler of a domain called Yamatai. Our main source of information about her comes from ancient Chinese texts which describe her as a shamaness who used magic and sorcery to govern. She was said to live in seclusion in a grand palace protected by armed guards, and communicated with her people through her younger brother. According to these records, she never married and dedicated her life to her spiritual duties. But don't mistake her seclusion for weakness. The Chinese chronicles state that she brought peace to her region and established diplomatic ties with the powerful Chinese Wei dynasty. The Chinese emperor was so impressed that he recognized her as the Queen of Wa, friendly to Wei, and sent her gifts, including 100 bronze mirrors, symbols of authority and power. When she died, a great mound was built for her tomb, and over 100 attendants were said to have followed her in death. The exact location of her kingdom, Yamatai, remains one of Japan's greatest archaeological mysteries, but the legend of the shaman queen who unified her people continues to fascinate us. Let's move to medieval Europe, a time dominated by kings and knights. But in Portugal, One woman held the future of the nation in her hands. Her name was Teresa of Lean, and she was the Countess of Portugal in the early 12th century. After her husband died fighting the Moors, she was left to rule on behalf of her infant son, Afonso. Most noble women in her position would have simply acted as a regent, quietly waiting for their son to come of age. Not Teresa. She took on the title Queen of Portugal and ruled in her own right. She was a brilliant political player, skillfully navigating the treacherous politics between the neighboring kingdoms of Lean and Costa. She commanded her own armies, forged and broke alliances, and expanded her territory. She essentially laid all the groundwork for an independent Portuguese kingdom. Her own son Afonso eventually rebelled against her to seize power, and history tends to remember him as the first king of Portugal. But it was Teresa's ambition, her refusal to be a mere placeholder, that truly paved the way for Portugal's independence. She was the nation's founding mother, a queen without a crown. Our final journey takes us to the Americas, long before Columbus arrived, to the thriving city of Palenque, a major power in the Maya world. Here, we find Lady Ixiolicano. Her name means Lady Heart of the Wine Place, and in the late 6th century, she ascended to the throne. This was highly unusual. In Maya society, rulers were almost always male. Her rise to power suggests a major crisis in the royal bloodline, but whatever the reason, she took the throne and ruled as a true sovereign. She wasn't just a ceremonial figure. During her reign, Palenque faced a devastating military attack from the rival city-state of Calakmul, one of the two Maya superpowers. While her city was sacked, Lady Ixiolicano and her dynasty survived. She held her kingdom together through this catastrophic period and continued to rule for over 2 decades. Inscriptions show her passing the symbols of royal power to her son, ensuring the continuation of her lineage. She was one of the very few women to rule a major Maya city, in her own right, proving that even in a deeply patriarchal society a powerful queen could hold her own and guide her people through the darkest of times. From the deserts of Sudan to the jungles of Mexico, these are just a few of the powerful rulers who history has overlooked. Their stories prove that power, courage, and leadership know no gender and are not confined to the pages of our standard textbooks. They shaped empires, defied superpowers, and laid the foundations for nations, all while their names faded into obscurity. So next time you think about history's great leaders, remember Ammon-Irenas, Chandragupta, Himiko, Teresa, and Lady Ixiolicano. Their legacies are a powerful reminder that there are always more stories to uncover, more heroes to celebrate, and more forgotten monarchs waiting to be rediscovered. Who is a forgotten ruler you think deserves more attention? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more hidden histories.